Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for stopping by. And it's still loading. Second to load. Okay. Apparently, the family has been found. Bodies have been found deceased. I'm just literally just hearing about this now. I'm trying to make sure I fix everything. There's some articles, and the police chief spoke on it as well. So we're gonna watch that. Let me fix this. Let me put the screen up here. All right, all right. And yeah, and there's a couple of things we got to talk about as well. Did you guys get notifications? I don't know if we got notifications or not. All right, let's get started.
You guys are well aware for the last 3 days.
Let me bump up the volume here real quick. No YouTube notification. Yeah, I think I might have used all my notifications for today. All right, let me bump up the volume.
We've been working a kidnapping that we had actually seen on a closed circuit TV. Tonight, our worst fears have been confirmed. We found the 4 people from the kidnapping, and they are in fact deceased. We are still working. We've got crime labs coming in from Department of Justice, and we're going to be most of the night processing the scene. There's no words right now to describe the anger I feel and the senselessness of this incident. I said it earlier, there's a special place in hell for this guy, and I mean it. What we're going to deal with tonight is bad, and we're going to be out here all night having to deal with it. So, give you that much. The family has been notified. We've made arrangements through other contacts to try and get them the spiritual guidance through this, and we're hoping that they can now at least have some kind of closure to what's going on. It's not the closure we were hoping for. It's not the closure they were hoping for. But as we progress through the night, we don't know all the facts yet at the scene. I can tell you that I have been near the scene to have seen, and we will be processing. It's going to be very methodical, and if we get any different news regarding this, we'll be sure to let you know. But at this point, right now, that's what we're working, and it sucks on many levels. So, do you have a question?
Well, what time did you come out here today?
We got the call at about 5:30 p.m. There was a farm worker in the area, and during the course of his job duties, came across them and made contact. Stayed by. We had deputies on scene rather quickly, and detectives were shortly thereafter, and the detectives went to the area and confirmed what we had.
Were they all found together, separate?
They're relatively close together. So, and I don't want to go into a lot of details as to what, but and we will at the later time be telling you how things have occurred. But again, horribly senseless as to what happened here. We don't know motivation yet, but we are making a determinant factor on that, and the investigation now is going to pursue a full conviction, and I'm hoping our district attorney's office files for the death penalty. That's how I feel.
Sheriff, you look pretty emotional, Sheriff.
Yeah, you're dealing with a child. I shared an incident that happened when I was on SWAT back in 1985, where a guy shot his own kids with a .44 Magnum. I was so angry at this son of a gun that because he shot himself. This is another one of those. I'm just livid inside because this was completely and totally senseless. We have a whole family wiped out, and for what, we don't know yet. So we are working on that. We'll try to get those answers.
Was the suspect able to ever tell you anything about this scene?
We've got information from the suspect. We're going to keep that close to our chest at this point. but that suspect has in fact been talking to us.
So the guy is talking because before they had him sedated. The location, one of the articles they put out the area. So I'm gonna pull it up on the maps. And I mean, I can't say I'm surprised, but it is just tragic and like disgusting. And like, what the hell is the purpose? What's the reason? You know, it's just a lot of weird things that don't make sense.
Now, did this have anything to do with what you said in the press conference about that cell phone that was found? Is that connected to what's going on?
Well, the cell phones that we found belonged to our victims, and so the connected part is the fact that they had them when they left the business, and they were found later on the road. So
is that near here? Or?
In a close proximity, yes.
Any other indication of where the suspect went beyond this that you can share? Did he continue that way? Did he come back the other way? We know the truck
have
was found
information, but right now we want to keep that tight, only because now our focus is on conviction. So now that we've got this part of the investigation, I'll say not even wrapped up, but investigating this part, now we're going to go forward and try and get as much evidence as we can, and we do have a lot of circumstantial evidence and direct evidence that we are going to be gathering and hopefully presenting to the district attorney's office.
Are you able to share at all for people who haven't been out to this area what the area is like where you did find them?
Extremely rural farm area. Not a lot of folks come out here except for the folks here, and if you guys went down that lovely road, you'll understand why there's not a lot of people coming through here, and it is extremely remote. And the fact that coming out here, I will bet you if we didn't even have the intersections blocked up, I don't think in 2 hours we'd have had 10.
Wait, what?
I will bet you if we didn't even have the intersections blocked up, I don't think in 2 hours we'd have had 10.
What he said. The audio's gone. Ugh. I'm gonna have to see if I can find if the audio doesn't come back, I'm gonna have to see if I can find another. I don't know if there's another news. Maybe I could try KCRA or somebody else. Let me see. Yeah, the audio just went completely out. Let's see. Damn, man, this is crazy. And like, I mean, and what my friend told me, because I had spoken to my friend about this, and she had told me, because we were kind of confused during the press conference. Maybe you guys can tell me in the chat. I thought I heard them say that the victim's family had spoken to the suspect via phone, but what she was telling me, because Court TV had put out something too. I haven't even watched it yet, but they had put out something, and she was telling me that she re-listened to it or whatever, and it was actually supposedly that the suspect had told his own family he was involved in something, and that his family said, well, we're going to call the police, and so that's when the guy went and tried to off himself, and that's how the police found him. But I need to re-listen to that really to clarify that. And I don't know what's up with this audio, man. Let me try to search for this. That sucks. Let me see if I can find another news organization. Damn. All right. If anybody sees it, anybody on Discord, anybody can email me. I don't know. Audio's jacked up.
You guys are well aware for the last 3 days we've been working a kidnapping that we had actually seen on a closed circuit TV.
The audio's messed up. Oh, unfortunate, because yeah, we want to hear what's going on. All right. I guess in the meantime, oh yeah, you know what the subtitle? They got subtitles. No, no subtitles. I guess in the meantime, let me try to find the location. The sound just cut off halfway through. I guess they had audio issues, and they don't have closed captions. Blocked off near Orchid. I don't know where that's at. Orchid in a rural area within the county. All 4 bodies have been found near the area of Indiana and Hutchinson. All right, let me see if I can pull up the map too. I think I had it previously. Okay, I still have the maps here. Indiana Lane. Hutchinson. Huh. So, okay, I think this might be the actual location. And if anybody can scour too, let me know if you see any better audio or one that actually has the audio out there. Amanda, I gave them my phone number, they never called me. So I don't know what happened. And she didn't want to call during the live. All right, so if you guys remember, okay, so this is the place of business, 879. This is the place of business. This up here, up north, is where the vehicle was found burnt. Atwater is where the suspect lives in that area. And then this over here, the Elgin Avenue and Henry Miller, this is where that farmer found the phone. Discarded, I guess. And then in this area around here, it says Indiana Road and Hutchins Road. In this area is where the bodies were found.
You guys are well aware for the last 3 days we've been working a kidnapping that we had actually seen on a closed circuit TV.
See if I can find
tonight our worst fears have been confirmed. We found the 4 people from the kidnapping, and they are in fact deceased. We are still working. We've got crime labs coming in from Department of Justice, and we're going to be most of the night processing the scene. There's no words right now to describe the anger I feel and the senselessness of this incident. I said it earlier, there's a special place in hell for this guy, and I mean it. What we're going to deal with tonight is bad, and we're going to be out here all night having to deal with it. So, give you that much. The family has been notified. We've made arrangements through other contacts to try and get them the spiritual guidance through this, and we're hoping that they can now at least have some kind of closure to what's going on. It's not the closure we were hoping for. It's not the closure they were hoping for. But as we progress through the night, we don't know all the facts yet at the scene. I can tell you that I have been near the scene to have seen, and we will be processing. It's going to be very methodical, and if we get any different we'll be sure to let you know. But at this point, right now, that's what we're working, and it sucks on many levels. So, you have a question?
Well, what time did you come out here today?
We got the call at about 5:30 p.m. There was a farm worker in the area, and during the course of his job duties, came across them and made contact. Stayed by. We had deputies on scene rather quickly, and detectives were shortly thereafter, and the detectives went to the area and confirmed what we had.
Were they all found together, separate?
They're relatively close together. So, and I don't want to go into a lot of details as to what, but and we will at the later time be telling you how things had occurred. But again, horribly senseless as to what happened here. We don't know motivation yet, but we are making a determinant factor on that, and the investigation now is going to pursue a full conviction, and I'm hoping our district attorney's office files for the death penalty. That's how I feel.
Sheriff, you look pretty emotional, Sheriff.
Yeah, you're dealing with a child. I shared an incident that happened when I was on SWAT back in 1985, where a guy shot his own kids with a .44 Magnum. I was so angry at this son of a gun that because he shot himself. This is another one of those. I'm just livid inside because this was completely and totally senseless. We have a whole family wiped out, and for what? We don't know yet. So we are working on that. We'll try and get those answers.
Was the suspect able to ever tell you anything about this scene?
We've got information from the suspect. We're going to keep that close to our chest at this point, but that suspect has in fact been talking to us.
Now, did this have anything to do with what you said in the press conference about that cell phone that was found? Is that connected to what's going on?
Well, the cell phones that we found belonged to our victims, and so the connected part is the fact that they had them when they left the business, and they were found later on the road. So
is that near here? Or?
In a close proximity, yes.
Any other indication of where the suspect went beyond this that you can share? Did he continue that way? Did he come back the other way? We know the
we
truck was
have
found
information, but right now we want to keep that tight, only because we want, now our focus is on conviction. So now that we've got this part of the investigation, I'll say not even wrapped up, but investigating this part, now we're going to go forward and try and get as much evidence as we can, and we do have a lot of circumstantial evidence and direct evidence that we are going to be gathering and
ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕੋਤਾਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ
Are you able to share at all for people who haven't been out to this area, what the area is like where you did find them?
extremely rural farm area. Not a lot of folks come out here except for the folks here, and if you guys went down that lovely road, you'll understand why there's not a lot of people coming through here, and it is extremely remote. And the fact that coming out here, I will bet you if we didn't even have the intersections blocked up, I don't think in 2 hours we'd have had 10.
That's where the audio cuts off. All right, I'm gonna call a friend too, but and I can't find any other place that has like the audio working. The audio just cuts off at this point. It seems like they had some sort of audio issues. That's how it's like on the website. I wanted to ask my friend about this thing we were talking about earlier.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message.
Yeah, phone's off. Amazing. Hello.
Hey.
Hey. So I'm sure you heard the news now, and you're on live, by the way.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you what you were telling me earlier, that conversation we had, because there was a lot of confusion with that press conference, and you also had sent me the Court TV link, and as far as like how police found the suspect, because there was confusion about that. The family, the victim's family had spoken to him, but we're saying it was actually
His family.
His family.
From what I gathered from that court TV video, was he confessed to his family that he had something to do with it. And they turned him in, and he proceeded to try and off himself.
Right. The other thing too, you were telling me, where did you get that from? How long has that business been open?
It's all in that court TV video.
Oh, it's all on court TV? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we can listen to it then.
Yeah, it had really, really clear surveillance footage. And it's towards the end, and he said that he had been told allegedly that business had only been open like a week.
That's interesting too, that the business had only been open for a week. Yeah, I didn't know that. I think we're probably, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to court TV, maybe see what they had to say.
It's worth the watch just to see the enhanced and cleared up surveillance footage.
I don't know if I can use theirs though. I don't know if I can use their.
It's on their YouTube.
Yeah, but court TV is a pain in the ass about that. They like to go after channels and shit.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Even though this footage is really, it's public footage though. It's not like.
Yeah, it's on their YouTube channel.
Well, the camera footage is public. Yeah, I mean, I can show some of the footage, I guess. This showed over here. It does looks enhanced for sure.
It's a lot.
Okay. And what do you? I know. I mean, you think this is just a fluke, like just a robbery, and the guy killed him, or because remember we were talking about the whole history that he, obviously the previous stint.
I just it doesn't strike me as just random, because there's just too many weird little nuances that make it sound that make it sound impossible to be random. Yeah, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he goes to some trailer in the middle of nowhere and just randomly walks up on people, not knowing what the business is or what's inside the trailer, just to rob them. And it's for 3 adults on one, and nobody manages to to fight back.
Right.
2 dudes could have taken the guy. I mean, he's got to put the gun down to put zip ties on their hands. And he can't zip tie their hands both at the same time.
And do we know what? I don't know. What was the thing? All right, let me see. So we were looking at the text. I was just curious about the. So they stock Indian convenience stores too. Is that all from the court TV that we're gonna get?
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like to me.
Okay.
The way that the family was explaining it in that interview with the random dude that you could only see from the nose up.
Yeah.
They call it long haul and short haul trucking, and that they delivered groceries, and it was he specifically said chips and water and sodas and stuff to the stores. So that's what I'm assuming, especially since in the beginning they said something about, the family said something about a convenience store that they owned.
Right.
I'm going to assume that they delivered grocery goods to convenience stores.
Right.
I don't know. It just it doesn't strike me as random. Because why else would you go out in the middle of nowhere to rob somebody? And anything of value got thrown out or burned.
That's what I wonder too. They mentioned like he tried to get rid of evidence. I wonder what evidence exactly he.
The phone that got thrown out by the farmer. The phone that got thrown out and the farmer found.
Why burn the
Burned
car?
truck.
Yeah, why burn the car? Just trying to wipe DNA evidence or something, or?
And if you're going to rob them, why zip tie and kidnap them? Because out in the middle of nowhere, you've got time to get away.
All right.
It just doesn't make sense.
All right. Thanks, Lori. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna check out that court TV video, or at least the surveillance, and then we'll listen to the rest. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
You guys are well aware for the last 3 days we've been working on a kidnapping that we had actually seen.
So that audio doesn't work, but we got this other one. Let's see how this.
It's a sad night. As you guys are well aware, for the last 3 days we've been working a kidnapping that we had actually seen on a closed circuit TV. Tonight our worst fears have been.
I think it's just a repeat too, but
The confers have been confirmed. We found the 4 people from the kidnapping, and they are in fact deceased. We are still working. We've got crime labs coming in from Department of Justice, and we're going to be most of the night processing the scene. There's no words right now to describe the anger I feel and the senselessness of this incident. I said it earlier, there's a special place in hell for this guy, and I mean it. What we're going to deal with tonight is bad, and we're going to be out here all night having to deal with it. So, give you that much. The family has been notified. We've made arrangements through other contacts to try and get them the spiritual guidance through this, and we're hoping that they can now at least have some kind of closure to what's going on. It's not the closure we were hoping for. It's not the closure they were hoping for. But as we progress through the night, we don't know all the facts yet at the scene. I can tell you that I have been near the scene to have seen, and we will be processing. It's going to be very methodical, and if we get any different news regarding this, we'll be sure to let you know. But at this point, right now, that's what we're working, and it sucks on many levels.
All right, let's take a look at Court TV too. So, and for the people that are just joining, the bodies were found, all 4, I guess, relatively close to each other. They're deceased, and this is the intersection that they were found at. I've done a couple of videos on this, so there's a timeline on the police website, but I've also covered it, and we've talked about the timeline. And again, this is the map. This is where the bodies were found at this intersection, a rural farmer area. This is where the phone. Sorry. Thanks, Moses. Appreciate the super chat. This is where the. I make myself smaller. This is where the phone was found discarded by a farmer, and somebody in the chat said a farmer found the bodies. I don't know. That would probably make sense. Over here is where the business is at, which we're going to listen to too, and according to Lori and Court TV, apparently this had been only open for a week or so, like officially, I guess, operating. We're gonna have to double check on that. But on the previous video that I just posted, like if you look here on Google Maps, I talked about this business, and I actually pulled up the deeds and everything too. Oh, somebody, Wendy sent me the deeds. You can see the family right here. Okay, and this is from March 2021, so the Google Images is outdated. It reminds me of one of these YouTubers on a different situation, didn't realize these images have dates, but yeah, so this is what it looked like back then. Obviously now it looks different. And I mean, if you watch the previous video, you'd see this, but this is 9222. This is where the business is right there. And then this is the deed. Okay. Amandeep is the uncle. So we have the uncle, the father, the mother, and the 8-month-old baby that's deceased. Okay, this is the deed. Also on the deed for the land. Okay, so Amandeep is the uncle. This is who the land was granted to. Amandeep is the uncle. The uncle is married to Jaspreet. So husband and wife as joint tenants to an undivided 50% interest. And then the other 50% is Jasdeep, which is the father, and Jasleen, which is the mother, husband and wife. They had the other 50%, I guess, of this property. And this was done in March 2021, which is what you see that Google image as March. So that's why you don't see anything there built in the Google images. And then if you scroll down here, lot 92, which is what I just showed you guys here. Lot 92. But I didn't know that business had only been open for a week, which to me makes it even more stranger, kind of, this whole situation. I hadn't even been here that long. Let's take a look. I don't know how we're going to do this. I think we can just watch the surveillance footage.
Like he knows what he's about to do and he's kind of looking around to see if there's anybody else around or if there's any camera.
Watching it, I want you to tell me what you are seeing, what is significant, what is unusual as we play the video. So we're gonna roll that for you. So Bobby and Trebor, and Bobby, you can start us off and then just kind of explain to us what you're seeing that is or is not unusual or significant.
So this is kind of a lot clearer than the footage we've seen earlier. How old is this case? It's just recent, just now, like brand new. Their bodies were just found. Oh, but this happened. So maybe you're asking when this happened. I think they went missing on Sunday.
Significant in this video.
Well, obviously, we start off seeing a very usual scene, right? They arrive at work. It's just before 9 o'clock. They probably start work at 9.
And this over here too, you can see the dog that's in the backyard. I guess is a dog that they took out.
The brothers arrive a few minutes apart from each other at their office.
This is the father right here.
They're doing their probably the very usual daily routine of starting and opening their office. He's taking the dog out. That's probably the dog you see later on the video.
That's the uncle.
Tied up in the backyard. This is probably something they do daily. This is their daily routine. And it's not until, he goes outside and kind of confronts the ultimate suspect.
And in the other video, I'm assuming they cropped it, but the pickup truck is supposed to be right here. The same pickup truck that you see, I believe is the same pickup truck that you see here. This 2020, let me show you. I have to give commentary too to kind of protect myself. The same, and I pointed this out in the previous video. It's the truck that was burned. So pull it up real quick. Okay. Okay. The black 2020 Dodge Ram truck. That belongs to the uncle, right? So it all connects there. And this is the uncle right there.
In the case that things
the baby's dead too.
Start to get unusual. And at first, it doesn't seem.
And it's kind of interesting too. Like, I mean, I don't know. Everybody seems to like stop and look at the camera. I don't know why. I mean, I have cameras. I don't know. Do I look at them like
that things start to get unusual. And at first, it doesn't seem completely unusual because there doesn't seem to be a confrontation. There seems to be a conversation. But then the one gentleman goes back into his business, seemingly not under any.
And this is the other thing that was weird too. To me, it looks like they jump around from the surveillance footage. They're not just playing it straight through. But this is the.
Seemed to be a confrontation. there seems to be a conversation, but then the one.
This is the father that comes out, and the suspect is walking here in the back, and this is a dog here, which I assume this dog is on a leash, but my friend was saying she doesn't know. But it even looks like at one point he kind of looks at the suspect. We talked about this earlier.
One gentleman goes back into his business.
See, he kind of, I don't know if he's just shifting his head, but to me it almost looks like he looked directly at him. Maybe he's just noticing somebody walk by. I don't know. But he specifically went out that time, specifically when this guy's walking by.
Seemingly not under any kind of threat. And the suspect follows him. And then as you see him enter his own business, that's when you see the suspect pull out the handgun and enter the business. Whatever confrontation happens then, unfortunately, happens inside that business where there are no cameras.
Yeah, and Trevor, what I just saw in that last piece of the video, there was all the way in the background, you can see someone walking down the street, and I think that is what they described.
There's a suspect back here. You see him kind of walking back there.
There was all the way in the background, you can see someone walking down the street, and I think that is what they described as perhaps the suspect. If you look really tiny, they're zooming in now. He seems to be walking down.
No way, Sarah. Really? Check my Twitter, DM that to me. I'm gonna check that out. Because there was for the new people that don't know about the story, there was, and I meant to ask Lori about this to recap it, the 2005 incident. Ooh. So there was we got more information on that, I think. Oh, yes. Amazing. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so according to Merced County District Attorney's Office, there was a similar incident in December 2005 from the same suspect that landed Delgado in prison for charges of home invasion, robbery with a gun, witness intimidation, and attempted false imprisonment. The victims weren't hurt. He was released in June 2015. A little bit more on that incident. So he's like done this before, but not to this level. And thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Thank you for the membership too. On Wednesday, Merced County Sheriff's Office shared information on the kidnapping suspect, 48-year-old Jesus Manuel Salgado, criminal past, which includes a robbery in 2005 that led to an 8-year prison sentence. According to court papers in 2007, Salgado pleaded no contest and was sentenced to 11 years in prison for first-degree robbery, attempted false imprisonment, and dissuading a witness. Does that mean like after the fact, like they're trying to like get the witnesses not to come forward, like so he doesn't? He's trying to get them. Let's
see. Said during that press conference that 48-year-old.
Whoa! This guy looks so different
details
here.
Regarding the past of the man suspected of kidnapping that family.
And this morning, the sheriff said during that press conference that 48-year-old Jesus Salgado had a criminal past, including a robbery from 2005.
So this must be his 2005 picture, I guess. Looking a lot younger compared to now.
That led to an 8-year prison.
Also, his tattoos look like they were colored in.
Sentence. Investigative reporter Madaris Babb joining us now live in studio. Madaris, you actually talked to the man who says that he was the victim of that 2005 robbery. He says Salgado held him, his wife, and two 16-year-old girls at gunpoint.
That's right, Brian. And the victim did not want to be filmed on camera. He also did not want to be identified in any way. But he says that Salgado, quote, has no soul, and described the terrifying moments. The man says Salgado showed up to his home in a mask with a gun. Just a day after Merced Sheriff officials arrested 48-year-old Jesus Manuel Salgado, documents revealing his shocking criminal past. According to court papers in 2007, Salgado pleaded no contest to first-degree robbery, attempted false imprisonment, and dissuading a witness, and was sentenced to 11 years in prison. Our station began investigating, went to the home that was the scene of the 2005 robbery, and managed to find the man who says he and his family were victimized. We spoke on the phone because he's still afraid in any way to be associated with what happened 17 years ago. The man who owned a Central Valley trucking company says Salgado worked for him for 2 years. After firing
What? You guys heard that? So this previous victim worked for a trucking company as well.
Salgado, the man, the 2005 robbery, and managed to find the man who says he and his family were victimized. We spoke on the phone because he's still afraid in any way to be associated with what happened 17 years ago. The man who owned a Central Valley trucking company says Salgado worked for him for 2 years. After firing Salgado, the man says the suspect showed up to his home in a ski mask one December night. The man said over the phone, quote, "I went to shut the front door when he pulled out a gun and held it to the back of my head," end quote. The homeowner says Salgado duct taped the hands of himself, his wife, their 16-year-old daughter, along with his daughter's friend. According to the man, Salgado then reportedly, quote, "stole all the money we had, rings, that kind of stuff." The man says Salgado even took the ring off his wife's finger before he, quote, "made the girls jump into the pool, and he tried to push me into the pool. I was able to jump into the shallow end instead of the deep end," end quote. Once in the pool, the man says Salgado told them, quote, "if you call the police, I will kill you," end quote. The man says Salgado then walked out the front door. Now, the man that I spoke with says they did call police, and they say that Salgado was arrested that next morning. According to the California Department of Corrections, Salgado spent 8 years in prison and then served 3 years on probation.
Medeiros, I got to know, how is this gentleman feeling, that he and his family survived this nightmare and that another family is going through this nightmare right now?
And that's something that I did ask him. Now, he's obviously reliving this moment, him and his family. He said that when he initially saw the photos and then heard the name, he realized that it was the same man, but he was just shocked to hear what happened, especially to another family just like his own.
And how's that first family doing after such a traumatic event? What's the impact been on them?
One of the things that he said, and I can relate to this because I'm such a father's daughter, he said, it wasn't about me, it was about my daughter. And from that moment on, it just affected that 16-year-old's life forever. She also had a friend there. And the man that I spoke with just said, it was so heartbreaking to be a father and have to watch your daughter go through something like that.
But it is really, really chilling. And great work digging through all of this to be able to get that for us. Medeiros, thank you so much.
Wow. What a clip. Holy crap. The man who owned the Central Valley Trucking Company. I thought, but the family clip that I saw, the family had said, correct me if I'm wrong, the cousins or whatever, they said that this guy, Salgado, is not an employee. The current victims, not the previous victims. The current victims, I mean, or did they not realize he was a previous? I don't know. Because I'm thinking, like, did he do the same thing here? And is the reason he decided to kill this family is maybe he didn't want to go back to jail or something? Said Salgado worked for him for 2 years. After finding Salgado, the man said Salgado showed up to his home with a ski mask one night in December 2005. I went to shut the front door, said the man, when he pulled out a gun and held it to the back of my head. The homeowner said Salgado duct taped the hands of himself, his wife, his 16-year-old, and his daughter's friend before he stole all the money. We had rings and all that kind of stuff. The man said Salgado even took. So, like, he's robbing them, but he's doing it because of this being fired. Vendetta, seems. Maybe he got denied a job. That's a good possible theory. Mayglove said that. Once in the pool, a man. So, okay, he made the girls jump in the pool. What's the point of that? And then tried to push me in the pool. Once in the pool, the man said Salgado told him, if you call the police, I will kill you, before walking out the front door. The man said they did call police, and Salgado was arrested the next morning, according to California Department of Corrections. Salgado spent 8 years in prison in 2015, and then spent 3 years on probation. Wow. And this guy, this former victim, he's still haunted to this day, which I don't blame him. He doesn't even want to be seen on TV. He spoke up, but he doesn't want his face or nothing on TV. Wow. All right, let's get back to this part here.
Down the street.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. That probably is the suspect. As Bobby mentioned, the conversation, usual or unusual, where
The only thing about this,
we mentioned, the conversation.
Okay, so that they jump around a lot. But if you guys remember from this morning, the other thing that the chat noticed, shout out to the chat, that this guy, and the waving could mean nothing. The waving could just be, I don't know, I see somebody there, hey, but the family's, I don't know, man. It's just, the waving is weird.
As Bobby mentioned, the conversation usually.
He's waving right there. The suspect.
The conversation.
Okay, that's what I thought. Stargator said, Mel, the relatives didn't know him. No one recognized him. Okay. So this is the follower. He comes out and he's waving towards the suspect. Maybe they're just trying to be nice to whoever this person is outside of their business.
Usual or unusual, where there doesn't seem to be too much of a confrontation. That certainly was one opportunity for the suspect to, initiate the criminal act, but that didn't happen then. It's not typically what we're used to. I have to admit, being here in Atlanta, when we're dealing with.
Well, Trevor, there they are right now. There you see the suspect behind. Like, what's going on right here?
It is, like you said,
it's odd. Yeah, he waves at him, he walks towards them, and then they start walking into the place of business.
Well, Trevor, there they are right now. There you see the suspect behind. Like, what's going on right here?
And then this guy clearly looks at the camera too, the suspect.
Here.
It is, like you said, it's very.
They cropped the video. So in the uncropped version, you can actually see the guy's face closer, but he's looking directly at the camera.
Unusual to me. Obviously, a lot of people are not wearing masks anymore. And he's got this mask on over his face, the hood.
And then he drops the bag.
To me, he was.
And he pulls out a gun too. In the original video, there's more narration from the police department.
Very suspicious. And then when I saw the one family member go back into the building, I think at some point during that exchange, he was alerted that maybe something wasn't quite right.
It's also interesting to know that he stops there halfway up that ramp and he turns to look, and it almost looks like he's looking for cameras or he's looking at the camera. So at that point, he looks a little suspicious, like he knows what he's about to do, and he's kind of looking around to see if there's anybody else around or if there's any cameras. He literally stops and looks back.
And here
looks like he looked right at the camera.
There he is.
Yeah, and it comes out the back.
There's any camera.
Hands tied behind.
He literally stops and looks back.
And here
looks like he looked right at the camera.
There he is. He's taking both of them. Their hands are tied behind their back, and now they're being escorted.
And this was the other weird part that we noticed earlier today on the stream. For whatever reason, it's like they're peeking around the corner.
Or being forced into the back of that pickup.
But they stop. I don't know if the guy tells them to stop, but they stop. It's like they're peeking around. I don't know what's going on. Already giving instructions or what?
I don't know right now, Vinny, is if he knows the mother and the child are inside that business, because here we're going to watch him leave for, I think, about 6 minutes before he returns and retrieves the woman and the child. So, I'm not sure whether he knew that I would imagine he did not know she was in there, because, leaving with those.
And I wonder why tie the dog there. I mean, I don't know. Do they always do that? Just tie the dog there? It looks like the place is a closed off place, and it's like, it looks like they brought my friend was pointing this out, it's not like a junkyard dog. It's not there left all the time. They brought the dog with them. Looks almost like a family pet.
Those two, it left her the chance to call the police or call relatives and alert them. Of course, he may have threatened her not to do that, or he would bring harm to those gentlemen. But it seems that we don't know whether he knew she was inside the business or not.
And I have this weird thought in my head that maybe he had already secured her, so he knew that she wasn't going to go anywhere, and obviously.
And that's the thing we were talking about earlier today too. When we first saw the surveillance footage, it's like, so this guy Lee, he takes both of the father and the uncle. He takes them out.
And it seems that.
And there's like a 6-minute time gap. 9:12, see the top right hand corner. I think they specifically said 9:13. And then at 9:19, he comes back. So he takes the father and the uncle.
We don't know whether he knew she was inside the business or not.
And then he comes back like 6 minutes later, Where he took them, what he did with them, I don't know. And we now know that at the end they end up all together in one, all similar in the same, almost in the same area. But he comes back. What did he do in those 6 minutes? You know, and then now come back for the.
And I have this weird thought in my head that maybe
that's the only explanation I could think of is she must have been tied up, I guess.
He had already secured her, so he knew that she wasn't going to go anywhere, and obviously the baby couldn't get out.
With the door being open and now closed, what the chat said earlier is they thought that maybe that was like the wind. Maybe the wind. It was open and it's closed, but they thought maybe it was the wind. But there's no way to tell. The video jump cut.
And he didn't want to transport everybody at the same time. You never. These things can go any number of ways. Having done this for many years.
Here we see him going. He's going back in. This is 6 minutes later. So he drives away with the father and the uncle, and then comes back 6 minutes later. He's back inside, and let's see what happens here.
And you do notice, Vinny, when they left, he was not in a hurry. When he just returned, he leaped up those stairs very quickly and got back into that business, very quickly. Let
me just see, because I haven't gotten to see this high quality version before like this.
He leaped up those stairs very quickly and got back into that business, very quickly. There seemed to be more of a sense of urgency when he was re-entering the business up those back stairs.
Why? Now, the 6 minutes that the mother was inside.
Well, yeah, that's true too. There was people. Clearly, these four had nothing to do with it. People were thinking like it's an inside job within the four of these people. And going off of the story that we just saw with the previous victim, this could have been some sort of vendetta, some sort of, I don't know, revenge type of thing. But the family said he didn't work there, so like somebody else had said, maybe he tried to apply for a job, but it just seems so extreme. Like you got denied for a job and you're going to do this?
With the child was an opportunity to get away, an opportunity.
Why burn the truck? Yeah, I don't know why he burnt the truck. The police said they didn't find anything in the truck besides it being burnt.
To call help. Have you ever come across a case like this where someone would be in so much fear that they do nothing? That they do nothing. You've got.
I mean, look, he had a gun. Like he has a gun, and he has your husband and your brother-in-law at gunpoint, and he says, "If you pick up that phone, I'll kill them both." That's a pretty credible threat, and it's probably enough to prevent someone from doing just that.
And I agree with Bobby. I mean, it happens to victims all the time. Victims of sexual assault and rape and child molestation. They have this threat over.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like if somebody has a gun. I mean, first of all, everybody's going to react differently. But then, if you're all being held hostage and it's your family, your wife, your kids, I mean, who knows what happened inside? We don't know who's holding the gun to the baby or something. I don't know. Like, you might not. If everybody were to try to jump this guy, somebody's going to get shot and killed. Probably at least one person, I mean, now everybody's dead, though. Hindsight, But.
For them, they're not physically restrained, but they do believe that threat that I will bring harm to you and your family.
Now, let's think about, so if he's back in 6 minutes, he could not have gotten far. He could not, I mean, could he get like 2 minutes away? I mean, if we're looking for what happened to these two men, if something happened to them, it'd be 2 minutes away, wouldn't they? Or unless he went and picked them back up with the mother in the car? I'm trying to figure this out.
That's why I think there is, I don't know what the probabilities are, but I think there's a chance he either didn't know she was in there or he needed her for something that he didn't realize he needed her for. Or maybe he did threaten her and leave her behind thinking the threat would hold, and then he got nervous maybe she would pick up the phone anyway. Something changed. I don't think it was part of his plan to go 6 minutes away somewhere unless there was an ATM right around the corner, but we would have known if they tried to use that ATM. And so I think that something changed in his plan as he drove away to make him very quickly turn around and come back. Like you said, if you do a 3 minute out and 3 minute back, he could only be 3 minutes out away from that location. And so something changed in his plan. Either something one of the brothers said to him or something he realized himself made him change his plan and go back and retrieve the woman and the baby.
So, Trebor, as your investor,
yeah, I wonder if that was the plan the entire time. Was it the plan to come back for the mother and baby, or like they said, could something have happened and this guy felt like he needed to come back? And such an escalation from the previous incident. And one of the things I think of in my head is just maybe this guy didn't want to do time, because I think of like sometimes too. I think I spoke to Sylvia about this earlier, and we're just talking about escalation, and we're talking about some killers, even though this guy, well. We're talking about Jeffrey, which is more extreme. And I was talking about Jeffrey had got caught with something, right? Didn't he do something to a boy and he got locked up or something like that? And then I know Gacy, I thought Jeffrey got caught with something. Jeffrey did get caught with something. And then he got arrested or something like that. And I feel like he kind of escalated. And then Gacy, too, he got caught doing some stuff to a boy, I believe. He was charged. And he did time in prison or jail or whatever reformer he did. And then when he got back to it, then he started killing and hiding all these bodies under the basement. So sometimes I feel like these people kind of escalate in fear of getting caught. But I mean, this is just extreme, especially for a baby.
Investigating and trying to find this family, what do you look? And you can't speak with, you've captured him.
Maybe he was on something too. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that guy was on something.
You've captured him. The gunman has been caught, but he's in such a physical state now they can't talk to him. So what are we doing now with this investigation? What avenues are they going down here?
It's one of the worst case scenarios where either you're only living witness, if you will, in this case, the suspect either dies or they're unable to talk to you.
Capital punishment.
It's kind of like some of the movies that you watch where, you have someone that was kidnapped and who's been put in a box in the ground. They only have so much oxygen, right? And time is ticking away. How do you find them? Unfortunately,
it says that it has been reinstated. Well, California voters reinstated the death penalty a few months later. Well, I have to find out, actually. Maybe the chat. We have a lot of people from California that watch. No, according to this article from February 9th, 2022, no one in California has been executed since 2006. I mean, the death penalty thing is people stay on that thing forever, and it just runs up a lot of money and everything too. Is it cheaper to the death penalty, or is it cheaper to leave somebody for life in prison? I thought that the death penalty was cost more because of how long or something. I don't know. I forgot which one costs more.
in our cases, statistically speaking, this does not look good for the family. I would be very concerned if I was one of the investigators at this time that, are we going to find them alive? Bearing the suspect being able to come around and talk and that he's willing to talk, they're going to have to go this alone. They're going to have to use just what they're doing now, this surveillance footage and any other footage that they can find of this vehicle, throughout the city. One of the good things they have working for them is, as Bobby mentioned, he didn't go too far. He had to turn around and come back quickly. You see in the photo there, he doesn't even take the time to put his hoodie back on. Hopefully he made some other mistakes, but that...
You know what I should do too? Let me get the other surveillance.
Hopefully that vehicle was picked up other places. I don't think that, I think in reading what the family's saying, this family didn't have any enemies. The husband didn't have any enemies. So normally we would start there. Sometimes kidnappings are very personal. As we've already mentioned, most of the time it's going to be somebody that knows of these individuals or possibly, related. There's some reason there, but nobody even asked for money. Which is the other thing. When it's a complete stranger, there's a motive behind it. Somebody's trying to get rich quick. But this is really a puzzling one, and I just hope and pray that they're able to find those clues soon.
Absolutely puzzling. All right, Bobby Chacon, Trebor Randall staying with us for the hour. When we come back, I want to talk about the truck that was found torched, which really began the investigation in all of this. Plus,
so let's skip to that. I just want to hear the part 2 where they give information about the business that I hadn't heard about.
The suspect is in custody. Because of his fate, did he abduct this family? Let's take another listen to the sheriff. Bring back in Bobby Chacon, retired FBI special. Let me roll through these 3 questions that I think are all sort of connected. Did this look like some sort of a crime of opportunity? He's walking down the street. Maybe he's homeless. I don't know, but he's walking down the street and says, "Oh, let me rob this place over here." But if it's a robbery, why do you abduct the people? And why do you put them into the car And then why do you drive away and then come back and drive away and then torch the car? To me, that doesn't make sense. If you're gonna rob them, you just rob them right there, right?
Well, unless you want to get the money that's in their bank. So if they don't have a lot, this is a Monday morning. Most businesses go to the bank on Friday afternoons with their proceeds. This is a Monday morning. If he wanted to get at the money that they have in the bank and use their ATM, as he did actually Tuesday morning, I believe, he's seen, or someone looks very much like him is seen, I think, using that in an ATM. And so. That could be one thing. I understand they openly opened this business a week ago.
Right.
So it may be that he was transient in the area. He knew, those people that live on the street in those areas know every business. They know everybody that.
So yeah, business opened a week ago, man. That is, wow.
Comes and goes, and when they come and go, if they live on the street in that area, they may have seen this business open, a couple of weeks, however long it's been open. They may have gotten their routine down and maybe forced them into, with that gun, maybe with the intent of, going to their ATM and trying to. That's a very awkward way of doing things. It's not like a professional kidnapper would do, because it's very hard to get a large amount of money from an ATM. We all know they have daily limits and things like that. So it's really a bizarre way of doing things. But this looks like a bizarre individual. He has a history of using a weapon, false imprisonment, and armed robbery, which seems very similar to this crime. Not exactly, but similar to the crime at hand. And and surprising enough, the taller sheriff in the background, who takes the podium later in the press conference, is the original investigating detective on his case, 15 or 17 years ago. And so I would be at that house where he was found, where he tried to take his own life, talking to his family, who ultimately turned him in when he told them that he had something to do with this, talking to them, doing a timeline of where he was when they saw him Monday and Tuesday, right up until the point where he attempts to take his own life. Build a timeline of him as best you can through his friends, if he has any friends, or the family members that called the police to turn him in. So build a timeline of when they saw him, how he looked, did he mention anything else? That's the only thing you have to go on, is his family that ultimately called the police. So you think that they're cooperative.
Trebor, the truck was also torched. So he drives the truck, torches it, and then just walks away like he walked into the place. And where does he walk to? I guess that's the only way, unless there's someone else involved here.
Well, that's not uncommon that we see suspects attempt to cover up evidence by the forensic evidence that may be found when they burn vehicles after, various crimes. But most of the time, in my experience, when we found a burned vehicle, they're trying to cover up a homicide. They're trying to cover up a murder. The fact that he attempts to take his own life, is a good indicator that he didn't intend to go back to prison for the rest of his life, or worse, get the death penalty. So again, that leads me to believe that this is not going to turn out well.
That little piece of video where I don't know if it's the brother, if it's the father or the uncle, is right in front of him and then kind of jogs inside. And I don't know what that conversation was. And I just wish that dog was inside that building instead of tied up outside.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with me this afternoon.
That's it. Oh, we got the Polk County Sheriff. Wow, man. So there was some good bits of information on Court TV. Like the business has been open for only a week. That's bizarre too, man. Like, damn, like what are the chances, man? Like a week. Leslie, thanks so much for the super chat. Mel and chat, I'm so sick over this. Their culture is about peace and love. They were sitting lambs. They would try to help him. Rest in peace. Beautiful family. They were living a good life. That's insane. I can't even imagine like losing that amount of people and finding out they're dead like in one day. And then a baby too. Yeah, you really got to be. And it's interesting because like the previous victim had already said this guy was like cold, just cold, like just. And to kill a baby This building is in the pic.
So at 8:30 a.m., we can see Jasdeep.
I'm going to see if there's any other information that's come out. I mean, the other thing, too, that was interesting, the sheriff said earlier, I mean, he could be wrong. He said there wasn't anything, any proof, but he had thought that maybe there was somebody else involved. Right. The other thing, too, Court TV did say that the suspect's family had turned him in. I guess they called police. Apparently, I believe the suspect had told his family that he was involved in this situation. I guess he didn't tell them the details. I don't know. And they said they were going to call the cops. And so that's when this guy goes and tries to hurt himself. When the cops get there, this guy already did what he did. Now, we don't know what he did. And when police were questioned by reporters, they had said that they're not going to say for now. And earlier he wasn't talking, but now police say that he is talking. By the way, they say life without parole is cheaper.
Arrive in a brown minivan.
That's true. Why the baby? You could have left the baby alive. Yeah, why the baby? Gold said babies aren't witnesses. Was this personal? Yeah.
At 8:39, you see Amandeep. He arrives in his black Dodge pickup. It's down on the corner. You can see the pickup here.
Yeah.
These cameras are motion sensitive, and they go off every 30 seconds once they detect motion, so that some of the video is choppy.
Hopefully they get more answers from this guy. I mean,
58, you see Jasdeep come out the back door, and it's very important to note there's someone walking down South Highway 59 South.
I mean, who knows if this was a guy that regularly walked by there daily or something. He wasn't homeless, though. That's the thing. They say this guy wasn't homeless. And the business is this 879, and this guy lives supposedly at Atwater. Did he walk all the way over there? How did he get over there? Does he own a vehicle? There must be another. Well, I don't know. Does there have to be another vehicle involved? Because was the phone discarded and evidence discarded? And was the family discarded too, I guess? And then the truck was burnt up here? Because this is where the truck was burnt. Phone discarded here and the bodies were found here. Did he use the truck to do all this stuff? There's definitely missing pieces, because what did he do those 3 minutes with the uncle and the father? Where did he go? Because if he didn't want to chow with everybody together, where did he go in those 3 minutes and then to come back and get mom and the baby?
We're not sure if the dog alerted him, if there was some type of motion sensor or some type of app on his phone, that's why he came out and looked.
Yeah, I feel like there has to be some sort of other vehicle involved, or who knows, somebody else, maybe like the cop said.
At 8:59, this is the other side. You can see a subject walking down south on Highway 59 at the business. And you'll see Jasdeep come out, and he appears to be on his
ATM?
phone, and we're not sure,
Maybe, yeah.
again, if
Maybe
he's got a
ATM.
motion or what's alerting him to come outside.
They never told us the time of the ATM transaction, right? So Magical Chaos, thank you for the heads up. Appreciate it. And there you can see at the side, this corner here, you see that's the pickup truck.
Jasdeep goes over and makes contact with our suspect, and then you'll see them walking back over towards the building. He's got this trash bag in his hand. As Jeep walks up to the building, we'll pause it and get a photo of our suspect. And he'll continue to walk up the ramp.
Maybe that's why he waited to pull out his gun further down. I don't know. Maybe he thought it wasn't in the field of view by the time he got up there.
Down the trash bag and
Then he pulls out his gun. I mean, he'd have to think it's still in the field of view.
see right there, he pulls out a firearm.
Those bags look like it had guns in there to me, but I don't know. That, at the time, it did. I saw some people call that out. Could be anything, but he does pull a gun out of his hand. I mean, his pocket.
And he'll continue to walk up the ramp. He'll put down the trash bag, and you'll see right there, he pulls out a firearm.
A trucking company, supposedly.
He then enters the business. Unfortunately, there's no cameras inside of the business, so we have no video surveillance inside. At 9/11, the back door opens. You'll see the suspect come out, and you'll see the firearm. And then it also appears that Jasdeep and Amandeep are zip tied behind their backs.
Oh, the audio, I can put it up. I don't know why he ran back. I took it as he skipped up, but I'm not sure why he did that. I took it as he just kind of skipped ahead, kind of.
Jasdeep and Amandeep are put in the back seat of the pickup truck.
My friend was asking too, which is, I don't know, kind of interesting. Why not take them in the van? The other vehicle that's sitting there, he could have fit all of them in that van. That's kind of a good question too. Why just the pickup truck and make 2 trips with the pickup truck?
All right, so that was 9/13 when the
Or again, was it or was it that he originally just planned to take the men? He was planning to leave the mother and the baby, and then I don't know.
vehicle left. It's now 9:19. The truck is back.
Could be anything, man.
Same suspect gets out of the vehicle,
We'll have to wait
goes
and
back
see.
inside the business. Less than a minute later, you're going to see Jasleen and Aroohi come out of the business unrestrained.
I guess I'm assuming these cameras don't have audio, unless they muted them. His cousin so claimed, was apparently in chat. He claimed the family was just opened this place, but suspect was an ex-employee. I don't know. We did see the interview of the cousins, the 2 cousins that we saw on TV. They said that somebody had watched the video, or somebody there at the job or family or somebody had watched it, and they said that no, it wasn't an ex-employer, somebody that worked there. You know, but I don't know. Maybe somebody else possibly recognized him. I don't know. That's the police, Gold. When the police released this earlier today, that they were narrating it. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate the stars. Arkansas, thank you for the 6-month membership. Hello, everyone. Sarah, thank you so much for the heads up on the previous victim. Stargator, thank you so much for this.
The truck leaves southbound Highway 59 right before the video ends.
Stargator, thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks, Mel. May God have mercy on us. And Moses, Mel, appreciate the content. No, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Callie.
From this point on, we no longer see any of the 4 victims on video at the location, or the suspect vehicle, or the suspect.
That's it.
I'm Dan Abrams, and
well, I don't know, man. We'll be following. Just crazy, man. And you saw how the family was on TV earlier on at the press conference, you know. So it's got to be devastated. The business is large gravel lot where truckers park their big rigs, very common in the Central Valley. Right, Red Wave said that. No idea. They did a presser earlier today, and then they had like a mini, like 2-minute one, just to announce that the bodies were found, and you know, they didn't say much beyond that. So maybe tomorrow we'll get some more updates and information. I was wondering that, Gold, is that considered a serial killer? I don't know how that works with this guy. The pressure loss audio, yeah. I'm sure tomorrow we'll probably get more updates. I wasn't expecting we were going to get something tonight. I mean, I don't know. The previous victim, that kind of shocked me, because we were thinking like this previous thing he did, you know, it's somewhat similar, but he didn't kill anybody, and there's not much else. But then now when they mentioned the previous victim was his employer, apparently for a trucking company, then it makes you think like, damn, was this targeted? Was it more than just a robbery? Because even though the previous incident, it doesn't seem like it was really about robbing the people, even though he robbed them. It was more about getting back at the people that fired him. Blonde blue eyes. Yeah, thank you. I saw that. Yeah. Steve, they're saying everyone carry a gun. They killed his whole family. Everyone should arm themselves. Shit, bro. So it's not true. The Uncle truck that was used, it was a different truck altogether. It was a silver Ford pickup truck. Which one's a silver Ford pickup truck? The one that we see in surveillance, or which one? The truck that was burned was the black. Let's see, the black 2020 Dodge Ram that was burned. But are you saying that at the work site it was a different vehicle? That's exactly what the guy in the chat said. Damn. Maybe we'll get more clarification tomorrow then. Dizzy, we just covered that. The previous criminal, the previous victim. It's pretty crazy. I'm going to clip that actually and post it probably tonight. I'll probably post it tonight so people can see that, because people are not going to be able to check out this whole stream. I'm going to post it separately because I think it's really important people see that. But yeah, he had robbed a he held a family at gunpoint or something and had robbed them, and they were his previous employers. And it was for a trucking company as well, which is kind of like, what? All right, I guess I'm gonna get out of here, man. Get some rest. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Unfortunate, horrible news. I'll be checking for updates tomorrow. Had no idea this was gonna turn out at all to be like this freaking horrible. Guy couldn't even spare the baby. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get some rest. Good night. Coffin Bird, thank you so much for the super chat. Renee, thank you for the stars. Linda, thank you for the stars. Good night. Peace. No wine. I mean, you can yeah, you're gonna send me a wine. But this is sober October, so I'm not doing wine this month. But yeah, we're gonna need to talk because you're gonna send me some gangster wine. I'm gonna get you back for that. All right. All right. Take care, you guys. Peace.